What the location that they wanted to excavate was here?
It was here in Hawler, yes.
In the city?
Not in the city. I can't remember.
In the province?
Yeah, in the province. Not very far though. Yeah.
And your specialty is?
I studied archaeology. I studied archaeology. My PhD in archaeology, but then I felt like I resonate more to heritage. It's related, kinda, but the human aspect of it.
Yes.
It's not just the monument, not just excavation and getting out like object, and it's more. I felt I resonate more to the heritage and the relation between archaeology and people.
That's nice, and actually that's true, because archaeology is not just some old ancient artifact.
No.
It's about people.
What the story behind it?
Yeah.
Whatever, it could be the most beautiful object, but if it doesn't have a story, it doesn't have value. What does it mean?
I remember I was in Baghdad in 2003 when, during the American invasion or liberation, some people say.
Yes.
And then there was a British woman, they put her in charge of the Iraqi museum to make sure things come back to the museum. They restarted. Exactly. And then some people wanted to destroy every statue of Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
He had big busts on his palace. And she said, don't destroy them. She said, now Iraqis and people in the Middle East are proud of their old kings and all that. And he said, in 1,000 years, Saddam Hussein will be like one of those.
100%.
It's history. You 100%. Can't erase it.
100%. It's the same what happened in Syria just recently. They start to, which I feel the anger of people, like, you understand it. Definitely you understand it. And whatever, if that's only your revenge, take it.
Do it, yeah.
And do it. But, it's more than that. So even, many artifacts, many statues of kings being found, whether in Mesopotamia, in Syria or other, Cambodia, they would find on these statues, let's say, like a mark of axe or some. So these are evidences of people trying to destroy this.
That's true. Yeah.
Not just destroyed by time. People, they try to destroy this also.
So there's mark of people trying to destroy them.
Well, you find a lot of statues like the head beheaded, just the head, and then the body alone.
That's true.
That's been intentionally done. Yeah.
So is that? I think I always thought. When I was growing up, until even recently, I thought in museums and places everything is real. But I realized they sometimes, like in expensive painting, replicas, right?
Many replicas,
that's why.
Yes, they do many replicas, and these replicas, some of the museums, especially for very precious pieces, they fear of destruction. They fear of vandalization. Actually, I don't remember, but just recently, very important painting. It was vandalized for a climate cause, like just to give attention to climate cause. But luckily, that painting was covered with a material, like a very transparent material, so it's not harmed. But it's been happening a lot, especially with the climate causes. People tend to raise awareness in this way. Just listen to us. Listen to us. Listen to us.
They want attention for their cause.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming to Hellen Khan, coming to Erbil edition.
It's my pleasure.
And I really wanted to talk to you after knowing about what you do. I read the website.
Yeah.
Imagine peace.
Imagining peace.
Yes. And then we were talking. You said something that is still in my mind. You said peace does not mean lack of conflict. If you don't have conflict or war, doesn't mean you have peace. Peace is many other things.
Yes.
Art, culture, stability, social cohesion.
Yeah.
So especially in a post-conflict region, which is the entire Middle East.
And I would say not just in post-conflict, also in the pre-conflict. We talk a lot about conflict and post-conflict, but with a normal community where they have multi-ethnicities or will have climate crisis, so that would eventually, if we didn't address it, would cause conflict.
That's
So
true.
conflict prevention, it's also part of peace building.
That's true.
Yeah. So building, and that would be the easier because the conflict still not happening. It's not happened, so it's easier to mitigate.
Exactly. Mitigate, stop. That's true. And so the problem here one of the problems in the Middle East is, as you said, the conflict happens, people get displaced, and later it's a lot of work trying to undo the damage. Right? It's always better to prevent it before it happens.
Exactly. In this Imagining Peace a project, so we were thinking, like brainstorming, definitely it's not just me, but also some experts. We had some SMEs, some subject matter expert in peace building. They are professors and they are practitioners also. So we were brainstorming about what the themes or the aspects of peace building. So eventually we divided it to conflict prevention, reconciliation, trauma healing, and coexisting. And so having these aspects, it makes you understand where also to focus your work.
Yeah.
Because if you don't understand the cause, you're not going to understand also or expect the solution or work on the solution. Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah. And then art is part of peace building. I read on your website during the pandemic, you had to do an online meeting in order to start.
Yes, exactly. So there is this very important platform. It's called Cultural Relation Platforms. They organize usually every year a meeting, or not meeting, a gathering for cultural practitioners, artists, peace builders, activists who can come together and either have like workshops or exchange ideas. But because our session or our edition was during the pandemic, so they give us kind of compensation. They said you can pitch for projects, and we can maybe we can fund it for you.
Ooh, the European Union?
Yes, this is from the European Union. Yes, it's funded from Goethe Institute and the European Union. So eventually our project been one of the successful ones, and it's being funded by them. And the co-founder of this, or the people we came together, we were all of us coming from a conflict or post-conflict zones. We know at the same time art and culture are not really looked at properly when it comes to the peace building process. And to do that, we needed to have some evidences. Why it is important, how we can prove it is important. So we came together with this idea of Imagining Peace. It's a platform where we can highlight and curate project initiatives from all over the world where they used art and culture in peace building process. It could be any small project, but we wanted to see if there is any really what they call it, tangible impact. So we can say, look, it has a tangible impact itself. So we worked closely with this project and initiatives. We gathered data with them, quantitative and qualitative data, some testimonies, some numbers, just to test out and try to find what is the impact. So whoever later would come and check this website, this toolkit we call it, can benefit of this. So for instance, policymakers who are thinking maybe art and culture are useful and we want to utilize this. So this project can inspire them and they have some tangible evidences that it is impactful.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what was your evidence? Did you find an example that art and culture worked in the service of peace somewhere?
In each project, we are highlighting around 40 projects and initiatives now from all over the world: Africa, Middle East, North Africa, Balkan area, and each project, it has its own impact, whether it's a small impact or big impact, but they do have their own impact. It's measured through the ecosystem they create. They create an ecosystem of people who can later, like let's say a project in Kenya. It's called Theater of Community. This project gathered many tribes who were already in conflict over not warfare, but in conflict because lack of resources, lack of water, and also land ownership after the colonial period. So they left these tribes in conflict, and the idea was to try to gather them, all members of this tribe, in a community theater. First, to let them vent out, to talk, just express themselves.
Meet each other.
Yes, meet each other. Know who is the other person.
Exactly.
And it was really difficult from the beginning. It was really difficult to gather these people. But at the end of the program, they start to sit together and communicate together. So they were at the beginning, each tribe sitting in a different separately in a different place, but then they start all of them. They start communicate, sit all of them in a one place, and then these people, after let's say finish this program of this theater finished, themselves created another cultural practices to express. So creating this ecosystem. Prevent really first it's promote for this type of practices, and also promote for peace, even if like in a smaller circle, but that will grow in time. I would say another example from Colombia, and there was in one of the conflict there they have also some what they call it gang or extremist fight. And
they had a rebel group called FARC. Is that the one?
Yes. Yeah.
An armed group in the jungles.
And then after they have this settlement with the government that they gave up their weapons, and then they want to be integrated in the civil life.
Yeah.
How that will happen? If you don't have like a really proper support from the state, let's say, give them housing, give them proper jobs, how they will really give up the weapons and give up this life. So one of the tools were to create this film or through storytelling. Actually, it started as a storytelling. Also gather these people and different from different let's say type of extremist, and to start let them talk, and then teach them a method of how they can shoot, how they can do the montage or the editing of short movies. And eventually, this turned out to a very famous film festival.
Wow. The project became a yearly...
After a few years, it became a very famous film festival.
Nice.
And these people, they were the founders of this film festival. So it not just shifted them from that type of life, but also created a new life. It generate money for them. It generate income for them. That will help them to stabilize and live their life. And we were talking about peace building, and the meaning of peace building is not only theories. It's part of the community stabilization, the economic stabilization, social stabilization, and they start to be accepted. They were also looked at, these the extremist people. Now they've been looked at, no, they are creative, no, they are contributor to the society. Yeah. So in this way, we were able to measure this project and the impact of this project.
Anything similar in the Kurdistan region or Iraq or Syria? Do you have any such?
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't, even though from the research I know there are many projects here, but we couldn't really work closely to them. But for instance, I would say, give example from a project in Syria. It was between Syria and Turkey, because of 14 years of war, a lot of Syrian displaced people, they live in Turkey. At the beginning, they were okay, like between the relation between Syrians and the host community in Turkey, it was fine. But later, huge conflicts start to happen between these two.
Yeah,
For many reasons. And this project is called Nota. Nota in Arabic is the music record or code. So the objectives of this project was to collect music from different ethnicities in Syria and Turkey. So they collected the music from the Arab, Kurd, Turkmen, even the Palestinian who were living in Syria, for instance, and from Turkey and Syria.
Whoever lived in that region.
In that region, whoever, the music from all region. And they divided into themes. One of these themes, which that was amazing to me, any music related to the agriculture practices.
Wow.
So, in our culture, during the harvesting or during any phase of planting seeds, or we have type of music or chanting.
Yes.
So even that being
almost everyone, they sing some kind of music under their lips.
So even that being documented and collected through, not through only musicians and experts, through normal people.
Yeah.
Through the stories they heard from grandparents, for instance. And that's created kind of people or whoever participated in this project felt, this is similar to me.
Yeah.
We are not far from each other. We are really similar. Even the type of music, even the melody of the music, because it's one region, it's one land eventually.
Exactly.
So definitely so that helped them to feel the similarity, to feel the closeness. But what's nice about this project, they took it to another step. So it's not just like we documented, we celebrated that, but we wanted to speak also to the next generation, to the other people who weren't participating in this project. So they transformed all this to techno music. Yes.
Wow.
They integrate this, so they recreated.
Who did that? By the managers of the project?
Yes. So they, and also, of course, that also, again, by musicians from their area, but who are famous and they are working on techno music.
Nice. So they brought some old music.
Yeah, and recreated
them.
And recreated with the new fusions with the techno music.
And what happened to the music later? Online?
It is online. They published it. It's streamed, and they streamed. They had many concerts. The income of this concert helped many people also. So, it's about create this circle and ecosystem of continuous creativity, actually.
That project was done and finished, or still?
It is still ongoing, but the problem with all these projects, which is we were asking them about the challenge, all of them, the challenge, of course, funding.
Yes. In order to continue.
Yeah, to continue. This is why many of them, they were thinking of their business model. So it is non-profit project, but how we can sustain this project? We need to have something to support us. So all of them, they thought about having income generating through supporting themselves, whether through opening coffee shops, like art or culture coffee shops. So the income would support them, or having these music tours. The income would support him to continue, but still, it's really limited. And this one of the goals actually of this type of project, like Imagining Peace, and not just Imagining Peace. Many projects are similar to this, to advocate for this type of work. But as I said from the beginning, we needed to have evidences, and it's still continuous. Our project is just in the first phase. Eventually, we would need to test out really this project, work closely to them, take it to the next step, and see if we can advocate and turn these to policies with real policymakers, whether from national levels or international
Yeah, I think that with the idea of music for peace is, or showing the similarity. There is an Iranian Kurdish singer from Luristan area. I
Yeah.
have been listening to him for years, and somewhere he says that once he was performing, singing in Portugal, and someone came up to him from the crowd and said, "That's our music." And he said, "No, I'm from the mountains of Western Iran." But he said that it was so similar to Portuguese music. Someone thought I was playing Portuguese melodies and music. So imagine Kurdistan to Portugal. So it would be even more similar if people on both sides of a border live side by side. Everything is almost the same.
It's I think music, food, and any traditional knowledge.
Yeah.
It really helps to have this closeness and highlight the similarity because it's one land eventually.
Yeah.
And now you're giving like example between Iran or like Luristan and then Portuguese.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
even that, yeah. So this is why we're trying. We as expert or we as practitioners, we know that, but we know also it's not really very highlighted or promoted properly in the overall in the world. When we talked about peace building, which is something I really don't support it. I understand, for instance, this the work of NGOs when they support displaced people in food, providing, let's say, shelters. It's really very important, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
This is not sustainable. It needs to be taken to next step, teach them something, capacity building, give them fund for a project they can sustain themselves from. So yeah, I think even the NGO work or non-profit work need to shift to the another level. And I think from all this experience of imagining peace, two ideas or two common outcomes, I would say, from all this project. To make sure your project has the right impact, you had to do it first. You have to do it properly. Like you cannot just create average work, piece of work, piece of art.
Best
you need
result.
to have it the best. It's not. You cannot say, this is not for expert. No. Even if it's not expert, if you don't do it properly, if you don't have really creative work, really impact, it won't have its impact. And the other thing is these projects need to come from the community, from the soul of the community themselves. It won't success if it came from higher up. And they like imagine someone would come tell them, you know what, in Sudan the main conflict is religion. Yeah, it could be part of it, but it's not the only issue. So you cannot build your solution only on that. People of that area, they know better what they need. They know their issue and they know what they need and how they can communicate. Sometimes the conflict is really complicated. So they would have conflict why there is a conflict at the beginning. Like the case in Syria now, for instance. It's too complicated.
Yeah. Whose fault it was, who started first.
And why they started, what they want.
Yeah.
So a third person or someone else external could be supporting, could help, but the core work need to work to come from them.
Yeah, and they must be involved. You can't just bring some ideas to them.
Yes, not like an idea imposed to them. They need to be the core element of creating this practice.
In your experience, do you think in the Middle East, like Syria, Turkey, Iran, these places, are people aware of each other's music and their way of life and things, or not?
It's not. I don't think it's not. Depends. It depends. I think they start now to know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, after so much conflict,
after all this conflict, now they start to know. Now they start to know. But now the project I mentioned, the Nota, many of they said, we never know that we are that similar. That this is the music. No, they don't know. To be honest. Yeah. They don't know much, but now they start to know more about each other. And that with the help of social media, with all its negativity, but it has also the positive side of it. And also when conflict happen, Yes, right. The violence increase, but at the same time, the other side also increase and get highlighted when you see all of us are displaced. Kurd, Arab, but
Yeah.
all of us are displaced. All of us same.
Yeah, I agree. Like in the Middle East,
Yeah.
often people blame all the conflict on another ethnic group. But when you look, everyone is a victim.
Everyone is
In
a victim,
Iraq,
and
in
everyone
Syria, in
is
Yemen.
everyone is a victim, and everyone could be, in some cases, the blamer, the one who we blame,
Yeah.
the one who the doer of the action. So, yeah, I think now is better getting to know. But I would say I found that this a positive thing in Kurdistan region here. Of course, it comes with the effort. It came because of the stability for a long time. It wasn't the case from the beginning.
Yeah.
But people here are more acceptance to each other
Yeah.
than Syria, than Turkey. Let's say, because I lived there, this is what I can. This is from my experience. But of course, that the price was so high after all these conflict. So eventually, I feel like they are learning the lesson.
Yeah, stability is really important, and economic prosperity.
Yes.
Once it becomes your focus on stability,
Yeah.
I think people can build peace together, build a city, build
And
a
start to
country.
thrive. They can start thriving, because without economic stability, without social stability, always the approach is it's not time for this.
Yeah.
This is not a priority. This is not a priority. Let's focus on where from we will get the weapons, where from we can provide the everyday needs like food, oil. So it doesn't get any
the
attention.
basic needs
The
or
basic needs.
survival or.
Yeah.
And you mentioned also something like, along with music, was food. And I
Yeah.
find it funny that people always say, oh, this food is originally Kurdish. This one is Syrian. No.
Yeah.
And I say nothing is originally from anywhere, right? Everything changes over time. Hummus, there is a
Yeah.
lot of
I like versions of
everything
hummus.
over hummus,
Yeah.
exactly. Over kuba, over kebab. Mine is better. No, it's originally. I think it's everyone's food. And
Yeah.
then everyone adds their touch to the food.
Exactly.
Even if kebab was invented in Iraq, there is a different version in
Yes.
Syria or in Turkey.
And this different version coming from the climate, coming from the land, coming from each region has their own particularities. So here in this region we have like more spices. So we add the spices to our version has more spices. Other region they don't have. In Mesopotamia is warmer than, let's say, the Levant. So the type of spices or the type of thing they add to ingredients they add to the dolma is different than the one in Levant. But eventually it is a dolma. Eventually it's even though I would say that I prefer the Kurdish dolma.
Yeah, as long as it tastes good, it doesn't matter where it comes from.
100%.
That's
But there's in the UNESCO now. I don't know how much it's really still causing conflict. In UNESCO now, you can register the food under a country.
Really? But that's my point. It's how will you prove that this food is from this country?
Yes. This is why there is this concept of world heritage. So it's global heritage. It's not only for a particular country.
One of the sad things about conflict is that once a community is displaced, it's so hard to restore that community. First of all, to convince them to go back. Many of them don't go back. If they go back, things get lost. Food, way of life, music. You've had a singer or an artist on your street for 50 years now, he's gone.
Yes.
That's the sad thing about conflict.
It is sad, but after like long time, looking at long term, it's create another type of heritage. It create another type of identity because a displaced person took with them their heritage, their identity. But then when they move to another country, it's been mixed up and integrated with the other country or other areas heritage. So for long term, you get another type of heritage, another type of music.
I've seen it in my own life. Like a second generation immigrant or first generation, later they discover their own identity when they move to Europe or North America or anywhere.
Yeah.
Their children suddenly wake up and become so passionate about their country, their culture. They love it, even though they haven't been back.
100%.
Yeah, it comes back to them.
And they said it mainly comes with the third generation. Because the first generation is still living with the trauma and with the confusion between where they belong, and then the second generation comes more with the stabilization that we are from, let's say, I'm from Canada. This is me. This is my identity. And then the third generation would come and say, no, but we have roots, we have heritage, because they don't have the urge to run away. The first and sometimes with the second, sometimes not, but definitely with the first generation, there is a phase of their life that when they migrate, they are like, they want to disconnect from that land. They not because they want to survive. Yes. They want to survive. So just for the sake of disconnection and for the sake of survival, we don't need to do anything with that place. Let us survive. Let us heal, and then we can talk about that again or rediscover.
Yeah, I've seen that's an issue. Many people, not only Kurds, but everywhere in the world, they say, the new generation, they say, my parents is not willing to tell me what they went through in Pakistan or Afghanistan or Kurdistan. They say they don't tell us. They say, don't worry about it, leave it alone.
Yeah.
You're right, because they want to get away from that place and also that history and that violence or conflict or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then the new generation, as you say, they don't have survival problems or urgent needs. They have more time probably to discover
their root, and they start to feel like, oh no, we are unique actually. We are not just Canadian. I'm just giving Canadian, I don't know why this example, but we are not just this from a certain country. No, our roots and our identity is mixed, and this is what makes us actually more particular among our peers in that place. So because they don't have the urge to run away. Yeah.
Do you think an identity could ever be lost? Not like personal, but for example, a community going extinct.
It could be. As community, yes. Collectively could, if it's not been really preserved. It could be lost. It could be lost. Not you can dig in books and find it eventually, but it's not lived
as living.
It's as living as living identity. It could extinct. It could extend. This is here where it comes our role. Preserve whatever identity we create or whatever identity we want. Is not also I have not questions, but I'm also not sure what is identity.
Yeah.
So I think each person has their own identity, but also collectively, this is it's like a common work between state, people, historians, all the people of the community, all the society need to together to have their own narrative, their own agreed identity. You cannot impose an identity. You cannot come to a country and say, your identity is Islamic. Who told you?
Yeah.
Or I don't mean like a religion by itself, but I mean
Kurdish or Arabic, whatever it is. Yeah,
you cannot impose it. Yeah. You need to have this agreed. You need to have not just agreed by force. It's accepted, practiced, and lived. This how you can really have your own narrative and your own identity as a country collectively.
And peace as well. I think if you allow everyone to have their own identity. 100%. And practice it, and then I think there will be no conflict.
Of course, because you don't have the fear from the other. You feel you are, and you start to feel like, but also I like that the other. I like what they're doing. You get curious to know more about them without you feeling you're threatened. Your identity will be lost somewhere.
Yeah, and that's why I think some people want to live in big cities or in countries that are very multicultural. I am one of those. Like some people are born and they grow up in their own city or village forever, and some want to meet as many people as possible, as many ethnicities, languages, and things.
Yes.
I think it's always better to be.
It's enrich you. It's enrich your soul.
Yeah.
I lived in different cities. I lived in Rome, in Italy. I lived in Turkey, in many cities. Before I moved to here, I lived in Dubai, and regardless, whatever been like taken, like Dubai is very modern, which is very modern, very advanced. But one of the positive things about Dubai is no one is stranger.
Yeah.
Everyone is an expat. Everyone has the same right. No one being looked at like you are foreigner, you are stranger, you are. And all ethnicities, all groups, all countries, all nations, they are there. They can live there equally.
Yeah.
So that's what really, for the past 3 years, I would say, really enriched my experience and how I look and experience the heritage, experience because I've been always imposed to the Middle Eastern culture, I would say, because here where I grew up. But then I went to Europe, it's more European culture. But in a place like Dubai, it's everything. It's everything, it's everyone, everyone being celebrated. So coming to what you just said about living in a multicultural or multi-ethnicities place, it's really enrich your experience.
What do you say to the people who worry always that, we have so many immigrants, foreign workers, this and that? They worry about something, losing the city's identity or something.
I would say, especially in Hawler or Erbil case, actually people of this land should be proud that their city, after all what went through, now they are in a place to host people. So this is a sense, that should give them a sense of pride. You are capable now to host people in need, who are looking for a better life, who are looking for a better, another chance in life. And we are here, people of here, they are able to give them this opportunity after they went through that.
Yes.
So this is a huge success. And instead of looking that these people would come and threaten their identity, they should look at it in that way. And the identity couldn't be like deleted or couldn't be disputed by having immigrant or by having workers. It's by how you preserve it, how you develop it. Because I believe identity needs to develop, to elevate. You cannot have just this narrow understanding of your identity or your root or your culture. You need to develop it. You need to develop your understanding, the aspect, the concept of it. It is not. I think it's a dynamic concept. It's not. Something that exists and never developed, never changed.
I like it. Actually, you're right. It could help your identity if you have different. For example, you go to a city in Africa or Asia or somewhere, and you see the Italian footprint, French architecture, English system, something. So that city is rich. If you have had people, not as colonizers, but let's say a cultural footprint. Erbil could also, I've always believed that, take advantage of this period of all these people are here.
Yeah.
It's good for the country. It's good for the city. In 100 years from now, we would see probably the result of this.
I think so, as long as we don't ignore, or the people of Kurdistan don't ignore their identity. And because, yes, having these expat, these foreigners, these migrant, let's say, working here, integrating here, living here, it's really enriched the city, enriched the people, enriched the community. But there is a risk of, if we weren't responsible on the heritage or of our identity, we can lose it.
Yeah.
But not because of these people, because we were lazy not to preserve and understand.
Became busy with something.
We're busy with
How
something.
about Dubai? Has Dubai lost its Arabic identity and heritage, or no?
I think Dubai is a different case. I don't know if the goal or the role model of Erbil is Dubai, but Dubai, I think it's being built for this cause, for the cause to be a metropolitan city, a very advanced city, even though still they have their, like in a percentage of it, they have their old neighborhoods, their traditions. In every, you can see from their clothes.
Yeah.
All the governors or the higher up Emirati people, whenever they receive people, whenever they go to any official visit, let's say, they always wear their traditional clothes. That's only, it tell you how much they are proud and how they are bringing the other to their heritage or their culture, not the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah, not the opposite. And I think it's a good opportunity here for, I like to call it Erbil, not Hawler. And I heard this from, excuse me because I forgot the name of I think he's a philosopher from here, from the city. I just forgot his name. And he said, I prefer the word Erbil over Hawler because Erbil, shows you the richness of the city, the layers of cultures we have.
Yeah, it's a very sensitive subject. Like I did a video about some mountains in Erbil province, Hassanbag Mountains, a few months ago. And there I say that Erbil is not only the Erbil city. This place where I am 3 hours away is also Erbil. And some people say, no, this is Soran. It's not. And I said, that's my point. Soran is in Erbil. But people get hung up on small
thing,
details.
Yes, in small detail, which create the division.
Yeah,
it's not only enough we divide as big regions, but also when it comes to small regions, this is what. But I think the issues here are still minor comparing to other countries because people here are really start to understand that it's not just these small areas.
Yeah.
No, they are a bigger world, and they are integrated in it, and they are welcomed and accepted in these places globally. So I also agree on. I don't say agree or not, but I like that his concept of the city has layers and layers of culture, identities, history, memories, and the role of people of Erbil to preserve it, to modernize it also. In that way, they would have really the distinguished city, not only by either be in a very traditional way or just forget yourself and be with all these international pot, let's say. Yeah, you need to find a balance between both. So I would say as I'm here not recently. I moved 2 years, in less than a year, and I've going around the city and seeing, for instance, these old buildings are unused. They used to be something.
How old are we talking?
No, not very old. Like I'm not talking here about the citadel and then the houses around the citadel. These are. Actually, this is another thing that these houses really need to be taken care of more. Yeah. And I know there are many plans for that.
There's a new agreement. I think yesterday or the day before was signed with UNESCO.
It's very exciting because first of all, it is a World Heritage Site.
Yeah.
So it's not a normal. It's not
belongs to everyone.
Belong to everyone, and it works it has a really very important role in cultural diplomacy. How you promote yourself, how do you promote your country, how do you promote your identity, as we're talking about identity. We have the chance of this World Heritage Site, so we need really...
Exactly, it's the biggest proof.
It's the biggest proof, so we need to take really a good responsibility of that. And I'm really happy about this agreement, and I'm hopeful that it will help to take care of the surroundings, not just the citadel, but also the houses around the citadel, the bazaars, the houses around, because these houses, some of them, they are not old as the citadel, but they held part of the citadel root, the citadel identity, the citadel value. So it's really very important to take care of that. But also I'm talking about the modern city of Erbil. The buildings from the 80s, building from the 90s, building maybe some of them from the 70s are neglected, exist a huge building, but without any function.
It's like they have become pigeon nests, full of pigeons and birds. And I've always wondered why. We talked about this on the phone a couple of days ago. You are so right. I think they must be used. These spaces, like if you need a hostel, instead of building a new hostel, which is bad for the environment, transform one of these old buildings into a hostel for students, for example, into a theater house or something. Across the Kurdistan region and Iraq, there are many buildings that could be refitted.
It's what we call it adaptive reuse of the buildings. So it's really very beneficial for everyone. It's beneficial for the climate, so you don't build a new building. It's beneficial for the community, so they don't fear of this building. Like it feels odd.
It's a ghost.
It's a ghost. Yeah, it's kind of ghost house, or it's odd.
Haunted house. Yeah.
Or it's like remind them of an era that they don't want to remember. So why we don't refunction it in something hopeful, something with a whole key, like messages of what we want to really to show everyone. So, and I think again here we come to the art and culture. It's the best way to utilize these places by open it for community. Community can use it as a theater, can use it as cultural center, can use it for gathering and dialogue. So I think it's really very important to utilize this. And we can see it from many other cities that went through similar. In Sarajevo, you can see that in Serbia, many cities are like this. In Kosovo also, they are using all this abandoned city, even with like buildings with remarks of shells, and they didn't renovate it, any building. They still have them. You can see that the war passed from here. But also at the same time, you can see how they are using them and how they are utilized for the future.
You said something really important. You said sometimes people ignore these buildings because it reminds them of a bad or dark area. I think that's an era. That's the reason. They hate it so much. They hate the time that building was there. But to make it positive, you could renovate, repaint, reuse.
Yes, and by
even
themselves
help you forget that.
And by the community themselves, they can do it. You know, you can invite people from that neighborhood. First of all, you cannot take. I think the decision about these buildings need to be done by both community and state together. It shouldn't be a one-way decision. So a lot of focus groups, a lot of consultation with the community. What do you think about this building? What memory it gives you? So we just understand, do this social analysis a little bit, understand the background and the context of these buildings. And then see, the next question is, what do you think? What should we do with this building? How is it? Maybe it's like hard no, we don't want it. So you just remove it. But when it's they don't really know what to do about it, and start the negotiation. You start to invite them to a dialogue, like, what do you think if we turn it to an art center, or like a community place for your kids to grow up, a place to open a new dialogue. In many cases, you will find it's really very accepted, and it will pay off. It will start from like eventually, you can envision it here, like even without being implemented, from like gray buildings to a very colorful and bright.
Yeah. Bring new life.
Yes, new life to it, new life to the place where, to the neighborhood, I would say.
You said another thing was that identity is not about people only or a community. A city must have an identity. You said that you live in Erbil, but where is Erbil? That's so true. Erbil as a name exists as history, as citadel, but it's more than that.
Yes, exactly. I think it's really very important. I think it is kind of exist, but it's not highlighted, or it's not very clear. Maybe if you can ask a Hawlari person, can easily
show you
or tell you what is Erbil. But because it's an open place, and it's for it accept a lot of foreigners, expat. So it's really important to start. Think about this. Like, what do you want to tell about ourselves?
Yeah.
Where is our city? Like, I live in a very modern building, and I think modern buildings are all over the cities, and they are very nice, very well built and designed. But at the same time, these buildings could be in any other city.
Yes.
So, what is the difference here? Where is the real city? Where is the original city of Erbil? I think these questions are really very important, because it's not just about history. It's about cultural diplomacy. It's about your position among the regional cities and among the international cities. It's among, if you want to, let's say, nominate yourself to something, host.
Yeah.
Let's say host an event, a big event here, like let's say COPE or Mondi Culture, or but we want to show people the city.
How do you want them to?
How do you want them to?
Yeah.
How do you want them to? What is the impact? What is the vision? What is the perspective that you want them to receive when they visit your city?
Yeah.
I think that's very important for the community, for the decision makers to think about it.
Yeah, there's another thing actually, but the problem is when people go through conflict, a lot of hardship, they want to, as we said earlier, to completely forget.
100%.
If they did not have tall buildings, they want to have it. If they did not have whatever they lacked, now they want to have it at the expense of something else.
Yes.
Cars, buildings, this and that. So that's why they want to compensate. And that's another
it's a
reason why conflict is bad.
Yes, I think yes. We because of the rapid development of the city, we often forget that the conflict was just there.
Yeah.
So it's also unfair to judge or to expect everything to be like perfect out of a sudden. But as I'm saying, it's good to start think about it.
Yeah.
To have this idea. Yes, I do understand, like people would really like to have these high buildings, cars, anything related to modern life.
Yes.
Because it just for them, it's the opposite of the war, opposite of the siege, the opposite of all the struggles all the past with this, that dark era. But I think it's the time now to think about the overall city, not just this. It's sometimes for people like, I don't need to do anything about the past. Even for sometimes for specialist people, I studied archaeology. I am an archaeologist, and for me, museums and heritage are like everything.
Yeah.
Not just it's like my passion, but also things. It's my specialty. This is what I studied. But for a while, I couldn't see anything coming. I couldn't hear or communicate or get in contact with anything related to the heritage of or the archaeological site of Syria when they were distracted over the war. I can't check any news. I cannot see any.
You can't watch it.
I can't watch. I cannot connect with it. My mind, my soul rejected.
Yeah.
Rejected to watch. Rejected to connect with it. So I understand. It's part of the healing, actually.
Yeah.
Part of the healing is to ignore or to deny the past.
Yes. Yeah. And this region, Mesopotamia, Syria, this whole area is so rich with history, with archaeology, with all
conflict.
of those things, with conflict, unfortunately. But you are in the right place in the Middle East. And does archaeology actually have also special fields? Because I don't know much about archaeology. As an archaeologist, do you do something that another archaeologist doesn't do?
Well, I don't work in excavation myself, but I studied archaeology, but there are many archaeologists who studied archaeology and there are trained archaeologists who work in the excavation. And archaeology is divided into, I would say, into eras. So some people are specialized in Neolithic time. Some of them is more Bronze Age, some of the Iron Age, and more recent. But many of them, they can work on all of these eras. And of course, there are some technicality differences. Yeah.
Why is it like I often see this? They say a group of Italian archaeologists came to dig this up, a group of Japanese or German. Why is it always like from other countries to come to another country to do archaeology? Locals don't do it, like people in Syria and Iraq or Turkey can't do it themselves?
They can do it.
Or some country is more advanced than the other?
Definitely, there are some countries are more advanced, and some countries are, because of the long history working on this in this region. So I think Italian, French, British, German here, they work a lot in the Hulk, for instance. And
Who
they have
are the best archaeologists in the world? Which country do you think?
I wouldn't say. I can't say.
Really? But
I can't say. I studied in Italy, so I would say Italian.
That's why, actually, because I always hear Italians. Probably they have more expertise.
They do have, of course, because of they are very rich in their history themselves, and I think everywhere. I wouldn't say like the best or the greatest or no. I think each has their own specialties and their own strength. But and here I think everywhere, even Americans now, they are really very advanced. The Americans are very advanced in the technology they are using. For the European, they are more accumulated experience.
Yeah,
it's because they are doing this for a long time now. British worked a lot here in Iraq in general, not just in Kurdistan. From the beginning, from the 19th century, actually, there are some excavations.
Is there ever a situation where a country, for example, a government says to its own archaeologists or foreign archaeologists, don't dig this place because if you dig it up, it will prove someone else's history?
I think,
right?
Yeah, I think
it belongs to another ethnic group. Don't touch it because if you dig it up, it means they were older than us. I think that could be an issue.
It could
Have you seen or heard anything like that?
I think it happens in some areas. In some areas of the world it happens, but not necessarily they could know. Sometimes after the excavation, they tend to really they got out, like they know the outcome now, but they don't really give it proper publication or interpretation. So just not to highlight it.
Wow.
It could happen because everything is about politics.
Yeah.
We know that. Not necessarily in this region, actually. It could happen all over
Anywhere,
the Mediterranean,
yeah,
in Africa, in South America. It could happen, and it could happen anywhere, I would say. But I think this area, not just this area, also Africa and Cambodia, Asia, suffered a lot of because of these foreigner expeditions. They would come and excavate. At the beginning, there were no, I would say, no regulations of protecting this object or discoveries. So it was kind of easy to take whatever they want to their museums and to their land. And this is why you see now in the British Museum, always there's an issue of the Rosetta Stone or
they have things
or other Greek discoveries or like very important artifacts. So that was really a problem. I don't think it's a problem now because there are more regulations.
And they have been returning some to Nigeria, to
Cambodia. They did, to Iraq also. But there are many important stuff like the Nefertiti head, for instance.
It's where?
In Germany. And it's been a big, long struggle to return it, but they couldn't till now, even though there are like really a big effort from I think the Egyptian side. But yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
Actually, there are these questions not newly, but like in the last decade, like whose heritage is this?
Yeah.
You know, this is like this is a big question, like whose heritage is this? To whom it belongs? We say global, so the debate is, it's a global heritage, so we can have it.
Yeah, that's one argument. They say
one argument,
that it belongs to everyone. So I take it.
Yeah.
Oil underground belongs to
everyone.
There's a whole school of thought which I forgot now, but I wish I remembered that. It says it belongs to whoever takes it, whether it's natural resources, land, cultural heritage.
Yes, exactly. So it's that's because lack of regulation at the beginning, and then also the balance of power.
Yeah.
Some countries have more power than others, so they can easily come and occupy their resources. Let's say whatever resource it is, they can occupy it. So I wouldn't say like an artifact is less important than the oil or other, because both of them, they are treasures for this land,
for that place. But I think recently I've been thinking about one thing, and it is that a nation like Kurdistan, for example, you don't have to try hard to prove that you are an ancient people.
Yes.
Like if you don't have archaeology, let's say, or artifacts to show for, or ancient palaces or pyramids, that does not mean you don't have history, right? We don't have to try like everyone else. Oh, we have this cave, we have that. I think if you have a way of life for 2,000 years, the way, bravery, for example, living in the mountains, intangible, that's a good word, you should still feel fine. The history and background does not only mean stones and artifacts.
Yes, 100%. I totally agree with you. But the issue with us is we have the narrative. The narrative exists, but we don't know how to present it. We don't know how to show it. We don't know how to make a case.
Yeah.
And this comes through something really very important. Let's say it's not just like that, but this is what something is obviously we lack it here is museums.
Yeah.
The museums here are really need a lot of.
They are basic.
They are really very basic. Really very basic. And
in terms of their
and not in terms of their
items, or in terms of management and presentation.
Definitely not in terms of items, because there is no place in the world. I don't want to say no place in the world. There are few places in the world they would have similar kind of artifact, object, and tangible heritage. But the difference is how we showcase it, how we communicate it. First to the people of Kurdistan, and then to the foreigners.
Good point.
Like how many kids visiting the archaeological museum? If the school didn't force them to go, they will never go. Yeah. And even when they go, they really don't enjoy it. And I totally agree with them because it's very basic. The objects, the discoveries, the artifacts are amazing, very valuable, but
no story behind it.
It's not no story. It's the museums nowadays, the role of museum nowadays, that are exceeded the classic understanding of a museum that it's a gallery and we showcase something. No, it's not. Museums are hubs for exchange, hubs for knowledge, hubs for innovation.
Wow, yeah.
And if we don't follow that, we will be very, very late in that term because first we don't have much museums, like few museums we do have.
Education museum, which I one day by chance stumbled on near the Citadel, the history of schools in Erbil.
That's nice.
I actually want to go back there one day.
Yeah.
And then there's the Erbil Museum.
Yes.
What else?
The Archaeological Museum. There are few memorial museums also. And I will come to the memorial point now, but I mean the work of museum and how to build a museum nowadays, it's all about the co-curation, co-creation. You cannot just showcase items and expect people to come and get excited. Museum need to make you feel curious, to learn more, to know more. In a way, like what language these museums are speaking with. Don't mean the language like as Arabic, English, Kurdish. No, I mean the technological language, the new generation language. How do you communicate with this new generation? How do you make them to come and really visit, understand their roots, and make them love to come back and participate and be part of it.
Yeah.
So I think there is a big chunk of work need to be done.
Who can do that? Whose job is it, do you think?
I think it's a shared job. First, a decision need to be made, or like a willing need to be exist from the state, from the Ministry of Culture, and then shared with the community, with the non-profit organizations, with the schools, with the Ministry of Education, definitely. All that shared work, and Ministry of Technology, because we need technology to exist there. Ministry of Culture, because the Ministry of Culture themselves need to be maybe the one who's leading this, but it's a common work between all the ministries, all the social society, and the
Ministry
schools.
of Tourism, Education.
Ministry of Tourism, definitely. And that when it comes, for instance, for both the natural and cultural heritage, the archaeological side, the natural sites, we have what type of visitor experience we are.
Yeah, you don't only have to go to a museum. You could go to mountains,
definitely
places.
Do you know how if we do this properly, how much? I'm talking about economic more because it is the first thing. It's take the eye. So you know how much if we do this properly, how much income generating it could be happen through that.
That's true.
If we promote these sites, both natural and cultural heritage, because we have amazing natural heritage site. We need to do it in a very cautious way to protect this site, of course, but at the same time open it to the people. Because if we don't open it to the people, if we don't share it, what do they mean even?
Yeah.
You know, what do they mean? And these visitors, and that all should be done through the community who live there. We need to be really careful not to harm themselves, because in many ways and in many other countries and examples, you can see that the indigenous or the local community of these sites, they are not really welcoming tourists.
Yeah.
They are against them because they are not involved in the process. They are not benefiting anything. But when you merge them, when you integrate them in your policies, that will really make them become the stewardship. You know, they create this
And
stewardship.
they will get to know your history. They will appreciate your past. It's important. And then one other thing that just came to my mind is that sometimes museums have a special exhibition of a certain thing. I remember I've seen a tattoo museum from across the world in Canada. I saw for a year the Dead Sea Scrolls were presented at another museum. I guess we could do that in Kurdistan if we take things from the Erbil Museum to other provinces for a period of 2 months or 3 months at a time, to Duhok, to Halabja, to Soran. If people can't come here, that's another possibility.
I think this is the beginning. This is how we start. But take traveling. We call it traveling exhibitions. Where you can start having this traveling exhibition to all the provinces, all the areas. But because it's the capital. Let's say we focus on it. But museum should be in every small village, every town, every city. Not only in Erbil.
Yeah.
So I think it's very good approach to start with this traveling exhibition. So we can, but also how it's been implemented, how it's been designed. It's really need to be creative. You really need to speak the proper language that this new generation, or not even new generation, even the elderly.
Yeah.
You need to speak also the language of elderly. You need to speak the language of kids. You need to speak the language of normal adult people. So really, like, creating an exhibition is not an easy or not a basic job. I think it's creative, it's innovative, and it's contribute a lot. If it's done properly, it contributes a lot in the development of like the new generations, because now we can see how these all international schools are opening, and it's great that the youth are getting to know more about the world, and they are kind of growing up kind of equally to whoever in the West or whoever in the East, I would say. But in somehow there is a disconnection from their own culture. So this is really important here when I said this joint work between Ministry of Education, Ministry of Culture, to create these programs, to create this interesting, let's say, curriculum.
That's so true. Like, no matter how old is your history, how much artifacts you have, what your past story is, if you don't really communicate it, as you said, to members of your own society, it's just empty words, right? It's
just empty words. It's just like, you cannot expect from someone who doesn't have this interest. You need to build the interest. You as an expert, you as someone who wants to communicate this, you need to build this curiosity and interest in this, let's say, youth or kids. You cannot just showcase an object and write a label. And expect them...
Leave it behind a glass.
And leave it behind and expect them to be impressed and be curious and be proud. No, it's need way more than that.
Is Imagining Peace planning anything to do in Erbil? Are you planning to start a project?
Yes. First, we are in contact with a few initiatives and projects who are implementing this theory of art and culture in the long-term peace building process, to start highlighting them also in the Imagining Peace platform, but also to test out these methods. How much they are really effective on the ground. So there are some projects they have their own approach, but we will be trying to implement, for instance, the approach that's been implemented in Kenya. Let's say or another country. I'm just giving examples, and see how much this is effective, how much it can be tweaked, how much it could be tailored to here. Because also we understand that we talked about that at the beginning. This need to be very locally designed, tailored. So you cannot just take it and implement it here without tailoring for this context. But we wanted to test out the main pillars, let's say.
What do we need? Kenya was theater.
Yes.
Right? You collected different communities in a theater. They got to know each other. The one in Erbil, what's the idea? Is it...
I'm just giving the Kenya one as an example. It's not necessarily the Kenya one, but it could be with. But the idea is to try to implement or to redesign many of these projects that have been happening other places of the world here, and see how much this could be a shared knowledge. Is it a shared knowledge or no? That's, let's say, or we can reach a result or an outcome. No, for instance, this practice doesn't work here in Howler.
Exactly.
So we need really to test it out to understand that. That's why we take it to the next step.
And if someone says, for example, Kurdistan is peaceful, doesn't need peace, go work, for example, somewhere else. You said in the beginning, peace is forever, always. You have to always work on peace, before conflict, during conflict, after conflict.
Yes, exactly.
It's always good to work on peace and cohesion.
Yes, 100%. First, because it is a multi-ethnicity and multi-layered place. Second, because conflict is not just because of warfare.
Yeah.
It's because of climate change. It's because of lack of resources. It's because of
misunderstanding
and shared powers, let's say. It could be caused because out of many issues, not because only warfare. So you need to have a kind of stabilized and already have the base for this community, because whatever happened, when conflict comes, you would start see some of these division.
Yeah.
Definitely you will see this. But in which level? If you already worked on conflict prevention versus if you never done any work, which one will help to stabilize, which one is make it to stabilize it a little bit. So
not let it escalate.
Not let it escalate, exactly. Yes. So I think it's ongoing work, never ending work, and it should be on all levels. It should be state level, community level, individual level, schools level.
Yeah.
And in a very basic, doesn't need much of fund or money or no. I think it's just a kind of mindset, understanding, and then you start implement it. If you get fund to develop it further, that would be great. If not, you can keep it in your community size. That's more than okay. That's more than enough.
And you said something important, and is that Erbil is in a good position to do projects like that for itself and for others, because it had Kurdistan, a lot of conflict. Now there is peace, stability. So we know what it is like to go through those things.
Exactly.
You are in a good position as in Erbil.
I think so. I think Erbil is in a good position, economically, socially, and even politically.
Yeah.
It's in a good position. It's in a power position. So it's great to start thinking about all of these, because not because we are expecting any conflict, but because we want to avoid conflict.
Yeah. And we do help others as well.
Help others, of course, because we mentioned at the beginning, it's a place with hosting a lot of people and looking for another chance who has already their own trauma. So that would definitely impact the place in a way. But how can we make the impact positive, not negative? Like not to have these people's, let's say, trauma or issues to affect negatively the city. No, it make it actually, the people here would say, we know this, we understand this, we are the people who can really help you to overcome it.
I agree with everything you say. I am for peace, I am against conflict, I am for coexistence. It's amazing what you are working on, and I hope your project really takes off in Erbil.
I really hope so. I work as a consultant now for like culture and museums. Mainly, I work in the Gulf, but I would love to focus more on the region that I understand better.
Fantastic. That's a good place to end the conversation. Thank you so much again, Hellen Khan, for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure, actually. It's my pleasure to be in this platform.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.